Lesson number 1 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. People's lives are a direct reflection of the expectation of their peers. If you want to help out your friends, expect great things out of them. Hold them to the highest standard, because oftentimes it's not the person who's driving them themselves, but it's the level that other people hold them to. If other people see you in a higher light than you actually are, that actually in turn forces you to level up. And secondly, remember that proximity is power. Some of your greatest opportunity comes when you get around the right people. The cliche is true. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time hanging around, or maybe it's the 4 people that you spend, you're the 5th, and you become the average of those people. So, lesson 2 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Today is very simple and straightforward. The only thing holding you back in life, there's just one thing. That thing is fear. Fear of success, fear of failure, fear of not being enough, not being loved. Think about it right now. Think about that one thing that you need to do, that you've wanted to do, that you've been wanting to do for years. Why aren't you doing it? It's because of fear. You're running on a limiting pattern, a limiting belief that's stopping you from going to the next level. Every single thing that's holding you back is fear. And tomorrow I'll tell you 3 ways to overcome limiting beliefs. If you're interested in learning some Lesson number 3 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Today we're going to talk about 3 steps to lasting change. Step number 1, get leverage. You have to tell yourself it must change now. And if your self-talk says, I can't, then you must. And the way you get leverage over this limiting pattern, this fear, is to connect failure to unbearable pain and feel it. So let's say there's a guy in an airplane, right? And I'm like, okay, think about the airplane. And he goes, he gets really worked up, he gets scared. And I say, okay, you don't want to go, but think about what you're gonna miss. You're gonna miss seeing your daughter get married. Is that what you want to miss? You're gonna miss your dog that's getting out of the vet. And if you don't show up today, you know you're never gonna see your dog again. Whatever the situation is, but build a strong feeling of pain for that person. Step number 2, interrupt and annihilate the limiting pattern. You're telling me about your fear. You're getting worked up. Tell me more. Tell me about how you're scared to fly on a plane. As you're explaining it, as you're getting filled with fear, as you start crying, I take a cup of water and I splash it on your face. What are you doing? What? You're in shock, right? I say, nothing, I'm sorry, go ahead, go again. Tell me about the plane, tell me about how terrible it is. So you go on again, and a second later, I splash water on your face and say, shut the hell up. You're like, what? You're blown away. It's something abrupt. It's something crazy that breaks that pattern, and that's what you have to do to create change. This is a cycle of the mind. So if you want to make change, interrupt and annihilate that limiting pattern, that limiting belief. Key number 3, if we're going to build pain of failure and I'm going to do all these crazy things, there has to be some Skittles at the end of the rainbow, right? So key number 3 is you must create a new empowering pattern, right? The key is changing that association from pain to pleasure. So now when we talk about that airplane, I want you to think about you sitting front row at your daughter's wedding. I want you to think about picking up your puppy. I want you to think about that family vacation with you and your family at Disney World that you can finally do because you got over your fear of flying on a plane. So those are the 3 steps. Lesson number 4 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. This may blow your mind, but I have to tell you, there is no such thing as reality. Perception is in fact reality. Now you've heard this cliche over and over, but it's time to start thinking more about the cliches. Because the more that I learn, the more I understand that each and every one of those cliches actually holds true. Now think about it. Your life experience actually has nothing to do with the events that happen in the world. Nothing to do with the events that happen to you. Your whole life experience is how you perceive the things that happen to you. That is your reality. Lesson number 5 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Today we have some low-hanging fruit. You know, there's a difference between absolute belief and hoping. And today the tip is simple. Delete I hope, hopefully, from your vocabulary entirely. Because when you're hoping for something, you're not fully believing it. You're already taking away energy from the outcome. You're already lessening the chances of it coming true. Where on the flip side, having absolute belief and certainty in the discounted rates for the Lesson number 6 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Today we're talking about 3 steps to achieve anything. Step number 1, focus, clarity, and commitment is power. You want to lose weight? You want to gain muscle? How do you do it? You cut out the junk food. You focus on eating the good foods. You focus on consistency. You focus on committing to going to the gym each and every day. You focus on the areas of your body that you want to work on. And guess what? When you see it through, when you know where you're going, you see the results. It's quite simple, really. Where focus goes, energy flows. Number 2, take massive action. Massive action makes dreams come true. Massive action splits the waves in two. I'm like Dr. Seuss here. Massive action gives you results. Massive action helps you make progress. And if you're taking massive action and you're not seeing a result, simply pivot. Simply try something else. But guess what? Anyone who ever achieved anything just stuck with it and kept going and going. Think about a baby learning how to walk. Have you ever met a baby who was willing and able who didn't learn how to walk? I don't think so. It didn't matter if they failed in month 6, year 1, 2, or 3. They don't say, oh, well, forget it. You know, they'll just never be able to walk. No, they say, get up, try again, let's try this. They pivot, they try different things. They try to help the baby, and eventually, even if it takes to 7 years, that baby's gonna learn how to walk. Why, as adults, do we get away from this principle? It's that simple. Stick with it and take massive action. Number 3 is a gimme. It's grace. Call it God, call it luck, but when you focus and you know your destination and you stay consistent and you roll with it, and then you take massive action and continue to pivot and never give up, eventually God takes care of you. Eventually, you do so much action that you get lucky. Those are the 3 keys. If you liked this information.
Lesson number 7 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Life will give you whatever you ask for. So why aren't you asking for what you want? It's that simple. If you want more in-depth tools, strategies, tips, Tony's doing UPW again in July. For the next 2 days, I can give you discounted rates. DM me.
Lesson number 8 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Look, did you know that each angry outburst you have actually lowers your immune system for up to 5 hours? That's right, it doesn't pay to be angry. Maybe instead, learn how to control it, learn how to temper that back, because each time you're raging and freaking out, whether it's your friends, your loved ones, whatever it is, your video games, you're actually bringing your immune system down. Got to keep that high vibe up. So, hey, if this helps you.
Lesson number 9 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within.
What good is success if you can't enjoy it with other people? A major joy in life is sharing your experience with other people. Here's what Tony said. What's the first thing you do when you have a big win? I thought about it and I said, wow, this is so true. You call your loved ones, you call your mom, you call your closest friends, you call your family and share the moment with them, because life's greatest moments are so much better when we share them with the people that we love. Don't take your friends for granted. Don't take your family for granted. Success would be nothing without.
Lesson number 9.
I'm not expecting any. Lesson number 10 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Did you know that motion equals emotion? Think about it. When you're depressed, when you're down, what do? Your shoulders go down, right? You might sit to the side, you might put your head down. But on the flip side, think about a time where you feel good, where you're happy and excited. What do? You put your shoulders back, you push your chest out, you smile, you stand strong. And when you stand in this way, confidence finds you, certainty finds you. If you want to make a good decision, you better get in a good mindset so you can be certain. If you're in a negative mindset, you're not going to think clearly. Motion relates directly to emotion. Don't forget it. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. Lesson number 11 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Your problems only die when you do. Problems are a sign of life. I could tell you everything. I could give you every single secret and it still wouldn't matter. Lesson number 12 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Repetition leads to mastery. Now, before you click off, hear me out. You'll read a book one time, but listen to your favorite song hundreds You'll watch a movie 12 times over, but you'll only go to a seminar once, and you wonder why you're not successful. The reason Tony doesn't care if I share every single tool is because he knows you're not going to use it. People need to be led, and then people need to repeat what they're doing because you don't always hear it. You don't always comprehend it. On time 1, 2, and 3, I'm here to tell you, if you've been studying personal development for 1 or 2 years, you know every single tip there is. Your problem is you're not doing it over and over again. Repetition leads to mastery. Have you ever thought of a really good memory and then you begin to smile when you think about it? Lesson 13 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. The one thing you have full control over is your state. If you're feeling bad, this is for you. You see, you were told it was your DNA, it's your genes, it runs in the family, and that's BS. You can alter your state at any time by wiring your nervous system through movement. Tony has this phrase where he says, say yes, say yes. And when he says that, when he moves his body in a certain way, he electrifies himself. He energizes himself because he's trained and programmed his body to respond to this movement in this phrase. You don't have to be depressed. You don't have to be sad. You don't have to have bad days. It's kind of a science and it takes progress. But if you wire your body through a certain movement, through a certain touch, through a certain phrase, you can activate your best electric energy at any time and be great. When it gets painful enough, you'll change. Lesson 14 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Raise your standards. Immediately following the event, I followed the Facebook group and watched person after person say, I broke up with my boyfriend. I just quit my job. I decided I'm moving to another state. And it's not because anything radical changed in their life. It's because they saw people living at a higher standard and they decided, what's stopping me from raising mine? Ultimately, where you are in your life is a decision. You set a standard that your 4 other friends that you surround yourself with, they all coexist on this standard with you. And in order to change, you're going to have a realization and understanding that you're ready to go to the next level. Because as soon as you raise your standards and decide you want more, you get more. What's stopping you from going from where you are to your best life is deciding that you deserve it. Raise your standards and improve your life. What if in your life and your business you became undeniable? Lesson 15 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Create an irresistible offer and over-deliver. Whether it's for your life, your business, your relationships, I got 2 examples for you. Number 1, Domino's Pizza. One time at Domino's Pizza, a guy delivered a pizza. He was so late, he was so behind. A customer called in pissed off and said, hey man, this is terrible. He said, my bad, give me one more shot. If I don't deliver this pizza in 30 minutes, it's free. The customer said, okay. He did it, and from then on, that became the standard. If you don't get your pizza in 30 minutes, it's free. And guess what? Domino's shot up. Maybe you've heard of Zappos that sells shoes online. Well, they were a failing company. They were going under, and they brought in someone and they said, what should we do? They said, I know this sounds crazy. I know we're bankrupt, but what you need to do is you need to offer unlimited free returns. Unlimited free returns. How can we afford that? How can we do that? We're going to go out of business. But they did that. They knew their market base was women, right? And they love a lot of shoes. And so they did that. And guess what? They ultimately sold far more shoes than they returned. In business, in life, whatever it is, if you put yourself in a position of over-delivering, you're putting yourself in a position to reap more rewards because you're setting out a higher level of value. What if the secret to living is giving? Lesson 16 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. It seems counterproductive, right? If you're on your way up, you say, give. I barely have enough for myself. How can I give it away? But what you don't understand is that giving unlocks your ability to receive. Giving unlocks feelings that you can't replicate from anything else. When you stop trading and start giving, your life will go to the next level. Let's talk about money and why you don't have it. Lesson 17 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. 80% of your success is psychology and only 20% is mechanics. But when it comes to money, people are always looking for the vehicle, the strategy, the financial advisor. But interesting enough, that's only the 20%. Chances are what's really stopping you is your identity, your beliefs, and your mindset. 80% is psychology. Focus more on your mind and your belief systems on wealth before you go seeking it. Sometimes the best move is the easy one. Lesson 18 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Complexity is the enemy of execution. Something you may struggle with, that I struggle with too, is keeping things simple. You could be stuck in your career or business because you want to make sure you get it right. You want to make sure you do the next best thing. But doing something, even if it's simple, actually keeps your momentum going and is better than doing nothing at all. Sometimes the best, it'll never stop. You're going to be climbing for the rest of your life. Lesson 19 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. The feeling of success is short-lived. If you're a ladder climber like myself, you're gonna find yourself saying, what's next? What's next? If you wanna feel truly fulfilled, learn to stop and appreciate life's victories, because life is filled with infinite ladders and you will never stop climbing. It'll never.
My latest
Let me tell you why so many people suffer. Lesson number 20 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. All suffering comes from focusing on yourself. Think about it. If you're depressed, if you're sad, if you're down, if you're throwing a pity party for yourself, why is that? It's because you're caught up in you. You're caught up in your own problems. But instead, here's how we solve it. Start shifting your attention. Get outside of yourself and say, how can I serve? How can I help other people? If I want to feel love, who can I send love to? Here's one dating tip that might catch you by surprise. Lesson 21 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Sure, you've heard that opposites attract, but you always felt like you should be looking for someone who lines up with your values. What blew me away is that when Tony said, if you and your partner have the same energy, it's not a relationship, but actually a friendship. But it turns out having opposite energies is actually what keeps your relationship alive. Listen, changing your life is as simple as changing your patterns. Lesson 22 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Maybe you've heard somebody say, I'm going to change my life. And here's what it comes down to. 48% of human behavior is actually habit, which means 48% of the time we're running on the same sequence, the same pattern that gets us the same result. So in order to change your life, you're going to have to change these habits. You're going to have to change these patterns. And only then can you get a new result. Listen.
I've been trying to get Tony Robbins' attention. First I started in Charlotte. Then I wanted to reach more people. So I spent a day in NYC to promote Tony's book Life Force.
Here's one way to ease your nerves before a big talk or presentation. Key 23 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Before a big talk, it's natural to have nerves, but one way you can get rid of them is by shifting your focus. When you're nervous, you're focusing on yourself. What if I slip up? What if I trip? What if I mess up my lines? Oh my gosh, everyone's looking at me, but you have to shift. We're assuming you have a great presentation, so take the focus off yourself and put it on them. How can I serve? How can I deliver this message in a way that it sticks and helps the people that I'm speaking to? Here's one way. Emotion is created by motion. Lesson 24 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Your physiology, or basically how you move your body, controls how you feel inside. If you're feeling great or if you're feeling terrible, do a self-assessment. How is my body? How is my posture? How is my face? Because a smile on your face also matters. Notice you can't be depressed and smiling at the same time. Also, one last thing to add, if you need energy, if you want to energize your body, get moving. The movement will in fact create energy even if you don't feel up to it. Here's 5 keys you can use to ask for what you want and actually get it. Lesson number 25 from Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Key number 1, you have to ask specifically for what you want. Key number 2, ask someone who can help you get to yes or directly say yes. Key 3, don't show up empty-handed. Make sure you're providing value for the person that you're asking. Key 4, ask with congruent, focused belief. Basically, have conviction, have belief in the outcome that what you're asking for, you will actually get. My favorite, number 5, ask until you get what you want, because life will give you whatever you ask for. Let's go. Here's